Hello and welcome
Hello.
to the second episode of our podcast,
Woo.
the Game Design Archives.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Today we are going to talk about the costs and benefit of multiplayer matchmaking.
That was my line.
Was that your line? Oh
It doesn't
no.
matter.
I stole
Your
it.
turn.
My turn.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna jump right into it by talking about the benefits. And I believe that there are two main benefits. One that's kind of not relevant in a game design point of view, and one that is. So I'm gonna start with the one that's not relevant, and that's the fact that it gives more control to the game developer what kind of match you enter, or the player enters. And also, to be clear, perhaps we should explain, with matchmaking we're talking about what you see in most multiplayer games nowadays, where you press a button, you wait 30 seconds, and you get put into a match by the game.
Well, if it's a popular game, which is
Yeah.
one of the drawbacks, but we'll get there
Yeah.
later.
So-
yeah, before you continue there, so what you're saying is that using matchmaking, the developer can control how bad/good the experience is for the players, that we're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think the reason I don't think this is relevant to game design is because the only real kind of use case I see for it is to manipulate the player, basically.
Yep.
You could, for example, the classic, they buy a skin and the next match they get into is easier because they bought the skin, because you want the player to feel good about buying a skin, that sort of stuff. So in terms of game design, it doesn't really matter, but it's obviously a very, very positive thing for big game studios who want to make a lot of money, because they can basically, what I'm trying to say is that they can exploit matchmaking to get people addicted to your game, to get people to pay more money, etc., etc. So that's why it's not relevant for the game design, but it's still a relevant point.
Yeah, I guess
You see what I'm saying?
I guess it also helps less experienced players to get into the game more easily, because
Yes.
without
and-
if you don't have matchmaking, then the experience you need to basically find somewhere to go, basically like a community or whatever, if you want to play it a lot,
Exactly.
and that's hard if you're new, I guess, which could be a drawback. I don't know.
Yeah. So, certainly, it becomes very press and play, right? You open the game and you press play, and then you get into a match. So you don't need to think about...
low commitment, I guess is a good word, yeah.
Yeah. You don't really need to think about what kind of game you're getting into. I think, perhaps, I'm not sure if I agree with this, that the low level, or...
lower skill
How would I explain?
level.
No,
Not skill, okay.
the lowest possible quality of match
Mhm.
increases with matchmaking, I think.
Yes, it
But the
averages.
highest possible quality match also decreases.
Averaging effect.
Because with, for example, a server browser where you need to choose your own match and you need to pick your own server, or that's community-owned server, etc., etc.
Yep.
The possibility of the match being very low quality is pretty high. You need to actually know what to look for when you're scrolling through a server browser.
Yeah.
But if you have a matchmaking system, you know that you always have a baseline of okay, I started a game of League of Legends, I'm gonna play a game of League of Legends. There's not gonna be a mod where some announcer says dominating every 20 seconds because the server owner thought that was funny, and it's really fucking annoying. I hate that stuff.
Yeah, even with the players, right? You're at least guaranteed, depending on, because a lot of them have different modes, right? So they have casual modes and ranked modes and stuff, and usually you can kind of get a baseline there for if you queue casual, people are not gonna try as hard. Although to be honest, people actually try kind of hard in those modes as well, depending on the skill level.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, like you said, basically you get like an averaging effect, and the average quality is more the same, I guess. Yeah.
I think what you said, like it creates a good baseline.
Yeah.
Like that's the main point.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna have an especially bad time, but I'm probably not gonna have an especially good time.
Yeah. I guess it's also kind of convenient if you don't have a lot of time to play games, or you can only play at certain times. That creates like it's easy to find game. Assuming the game is popular and there is players, you can just jump in any time and play, right?
Yeah.
So I guess that's more of a player-based thing.
Yeah.
But still, it still helps compared to games where you use like server browsers or community stuff.
Yeah. I also think there's a second, actually, kind of good advantage that I haven't seen discussed a lot. And for this example, I need to talk about Fortnite. So I don't really play Battle Royales. I have played like 10 matches of Apex Legends or something. Yeah, that's about my experience.
I don't like it.
So this doesn't really only apply to Fortnite, but any Battle Royale for that matter. Yeah. And I think they are a good example of where matchmaking is actually desirable.
Okay.
Because matchmaking helps kind of, it solves a lot of problem with game structure. So if you have, for example, Fortnite, you jump into a game, you're in there at the start of the game, first of all, and then you play the game, and then you die, and then you get booted back into the lobby, and you press play again, and you're back at the start of the game. And I think that's very important, especially for a game like a Battle Royale, where like, if you die, the match is over, right?
Yeah.
So I'll try to give an example of the opposite. Like if you would do a Battle Royale with a server browser, because I think that explains better what the problem is solving. So if you would try to make Fortnite with a server browser, you would have to either somehow make all of the players who are playing in a match time their entry into the match so they join at the same time, or you would have to have a bunch of downtime.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you would have like...
It can be very disorganized about the
timing, exactly.
Like when people start and stop playing.
Yeah. And you would need to have like a 20-minute waiting lobby before the match actually starts. Yeah. And then the problem comes when you die, which, most likely statistically speaking, because there's like 100 people in the game or whatever, you're gonna die pretty quickly.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to leave that server, find a new server, and sit in a waiting lobby for 20 minutes again for the game to start.
I guess you could mitigate that a bit by having a server that can run multiple games at once. So you would have like a lobby structure in the server.
Yeah, but you still need to have like, the players need to choose their game, right?
Yeah.
And I think that means that basically the structure of what happens between the games, it removes a lot of downtime, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm thinking
potentially,
like, let's take a competitive game like CS, for example.
Yeah, there's a lot of downtime in CS.
It has competitive matchmaking, right? So when I press play, I wait 30 seconds, and then I get into the match, and I play with the same team of 5 people against the same team of 5 people for an entire match, and then the match is over, and then everyone leaves automatically, right? And with a server browser system, that kind of like smoothness in like between games kind of downtime, I guess, becomes a lot harder, because what if someone leaves in the middle of the match, right? You need to be able to do that with the server browser. What if you join mid-match, like you're in the middle of a competitive game, 5v5, you join and you're completely disoriented, you don't know anything, and so that matchmaking solves that problem, right? And it's obviously solvable through other ways,
Yeah.
Like, for example, which we'll get into later, like community events and stuff like that. But like, if you want, like, okay, I start the game, I get into a competitive game now, I play it, and then I shut down the game. I think matchmaking, that's like the main benefit of matchmaking to me.
Yeah, I agree, but I think you can mitigate it a bit by having, again, like in-server structure where you like can run multiple games, for example. So it would depend a bit on the amount of players, but yes, you would still need to coordinate more about when the game starts and stuff. I agree. Yeah.
But also I think mainly not just the starts, but like, to be extra clear, like the fact that you can't join a game mid-game, like that's pretty big. Because I'm just thinking, if I were to play CS and I joined the game mid-game, I wouldn't be very invested in that game.
Right, but what I mean is,
I would wait until the next game before I invest myself fully, like mentally.
Yes, but you could have I don't know, I'm thinking like some Minecraft stuff or something where you join a lobby, right?
Oh, you mean like Hypixel or stuff like that?
Yeah, something like that. You join a lobby and then you like can have multiple instances of games running, so you join there, and then if there's enough people, you play. So that kind of solves it, but that's not.
Yeah.
It's not as convenient, obviously, because you still need to. There needs to be people, and So I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that would work. Yeah. Yeah, that would probably work a little bit.
Yeah. A lot of this also depends on how many players there are, because this completely breaks down if there's not enough players in the game.
Yeah.
Even actually if there is enough players, matchmaking breaks down, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Is there any more benefits?
No, those are the two things I could come up
Yeah.
with. I don't know if you have any more.
Yeah, no, I think that is. I think I feel the same. It's like, you kind of, if you just go in and play like once a week or something and you have like 30 minutes, it's kind of convenient because you can just go in and you know what to expect.
Yeah.
Not exactly maybe, but close to it. And
yeah. And as we said, it raises the baseline, and it makes sure that you're not like joining mid game or like people are leaving all of the time and stuff like that. It solves a lot of that.
Yeah. So I'm gonna transition this actually into a game that I played a lot, which no one has heard about, which is Nosgoth, which you have heard
I've heard of it.
Yeah. So this game closed down in like, I don't even remember, 2016, 2015.
Was it that long ago?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And that was matchmaking based when it was released, but there was a lot of community stuff running, and they had like tournaments and stuff.
Yeah.
So it was really nice actually. Like I knew a lot of the players and it was quite fun. But then after it closed down, well, first of all, we could play it for a while, but then there was community servers. And that was actually really eye-opening to me. Well, I guess I kind of knew this before, but I realized like it solidified it or whatever. Like it was more clear.
What was?
This fact that community and I'll get into it. So like what happened is basically, well, there wasn't a lot of people playing, and it was technically matchmaking, but you could start up lobbies and stuff, and there's like a Discord for it and stuff. So you had to interact with people a lot more when you played, which sounds inconvenient, but it's actually something missing, I think, in modern games, where like you join I'll give you an example. I'll look at like the server, the game's up running, right? And I could see what players are on the server. And I'm like, ooh, that guy's on, or that player's playing now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna join now, and then I join, and because we played against each other so much, it's fun, right? We know about each other, right? It's really fun. Or like some other time, it's like, I want to play now, but that player's on, better wait, you know, stuff like that. It's so fun, and then you talk to people, like you get new friends, and we played tons of tournaments, like amateur, what do you say, not for fun tournaments, right? That I think is the biggest thing missing from a lot of modern stuff. It's a very big focus on rank, which is completely useless. It's such a garbage waste of time, in my opinion. If you want to strive for like skill in these what do you call it? Like team-based multiplayer games, right? You need to do tournaments. Like, it's the only way. And you need to play with the same players. You need to have a team. And you need to organize scrims, and it's super fun. It's super fun. But it takes a lot of time. But if you are serious about playing the game, then serious sounds so dramatic. What I mean is serious, like you play the game.
Like you want to get better.
Yeah, you want to get better. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna be a professional player. It's like, oh, I really like this game. I want to get good at it, and I want to play it.
I want to master it because it's fun.
Yeah, because it's fun, right? So and that's just completely missing in modern games. I'm gonna move off Nosgoth for a bit here and talk about Overwatch. I played a lot of Overwatch as well, and that has matchmaking, right?
Yep.
And there I played with the same people, but we mainly focused on rank games, right? Yep. And it felt terrible to me because you just you didn't get. I mean, you obviously get better, right? But it's not the same thing. Like when I played the tournaments in Nosgoth with my friends and against people I knew.
Against your friends.
Yeah, it was the same. Like I knew, shit, these guys, they are good, and this is like, we should lose this game, or like these guys are not so good, we should win this game, and we should get better at this thing or that thing. But with this matchmaking thing, it's constantly adjusting for your skill. So it's you can't. It's super hard. I mean, you can, obviously, people get better. I'm not. Yeah. But it's way harder to evaluate your skill at any point, because you might get, like, the matchmaking is gonna go, oh, you won a lot of games, so now you get some bad teammates, or now you won a bunch of games, so now you got some, or maybe someone like you don't know who you're playing with, right? So the other player might have a bad day even though he's good, or bunch of random stuff, and it's always trying to like make you have a good experience instead of getting better. Like the focus of matchmaking is always fun, I guess, in quotation marks.
Yeah, I guess
which
it's
is not fun, in my opinion.
The point of skill-based matchmaking is to ensure that you have a 50% win rate.
Yes.
Which isn't necessarily...
No, it's bad. It's awful.
Like
it feels terrible.
It sounds good maybe if you don't think about it a lot, but like if you actually want to like play a skill-based game, it doesn't actually make much sense, because like the room for improvement, I guess, is a lot lower. I play a lot of CS, for example.
Yeah.
And one thing that I find really annoying, CS has skill-based matchmaking and rank and stuff like that. And one thing, and that's also the main thing that I play with my friends. And anyways, one thing that really annoys me with that kind of skill-based matchmaking stuff is that it's very hard for me to. I think you kind of touched on it, but I want to make it like very clear because I think it's very important. Is that it's very hard for me to evaluate where I'm at.
Yes.
Because you mentioned it, like as I get better opponents, right? That's one point. But also the like variation between matches can be insane.
Yes.
Like if I lose a match, I don't know if it's because I'm having a bad day or because I met a really good player, right? Yeah. Like a player that's way better than me. Or if I win a game, maybe it was because I was playing really well today, or it was that my opponent was playing trash today. And there's no feedback, I guess.
Yes.
There's no baseline to compare myself to. Like, if I have like a community-based game, I can see, oh yeah, that guy, he's like really good. He always gets 30 kills every round.
Yes.
Okay. So what if I get more kills than him one round? I'm like, holy shit, I played better than that guy. That was so cool.
Feels really
I did
good
so
as
well.
It's like, yes, I did good today.
Yeah. but like with matchmaking, because you're always meeting new people and like you're not interacting with them at all and stuff like that, it becomes very like, you're kind of like mindlessly grinding for like some weird esoteric goal, I guess. Like it's not like, it is technically skill-based matchmaking, yes, and the goal is technically that you the goal is technically that you want to become better at it, right? But there's like no feedback, I guess. Like I'm kind of just mindlessly sitting there bashing my head against the wall until my rank improves, and then like if I look back half a year, I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm a bit better now. But like there's nothing like concrete to compare it to, I guess.
Yeah. Another thing to that is, if you're weird like me and actually really want to get better, the best way to get better is actually to just play skilled players.
Yeah.
So it's super frustrating with competitive matchmaking, because if we go back to Nosgoth, what we did when we like started playing in the competitive tournaments is we just played the best teams all the time, and we got good really fast, and it was super fun. I mean, we never got as good as them, but I mean, we got close. But still, so like when you play these games with matchmaking, it doesn't work, because your mistakes, like you'll do. I mean, it's what you said, but it's just to give more concrete examples. Like you'll do something in the game. You'll think that something is a good idea, and you'll play against a good player, and he'll punish you. And then you're like, oh, no, I can't do that, right? And then some other game, you can do that because the player is bad. So you don't get consistency about what things work and doesn't. So it's really hard to learn, because let's say you just happen to get, like every other game, you meet an opponent that punishes or do not punish that mistake. How are you gonna? I mean, you're gonna have to analyze your games very carefully. You can't brute force it, basically. Or I mean, probably you can if you're good enough or play enough, right? But it's hard.
That's sort of. I feel like you have something interesting to say, but I don't know how to say it.
Try.
I think that's like okay, I'll come. I have an example. I think so. This is gonna be a bit. I'll have to explain a bit, because it's very like Counter-Strike specific.
Yep.
But there are like a lot of strategies that like aren't technically, like against a skilled player, they aren't very good at all. But they work if the enemy isn't expecting it, right? And I think one problem I have with CS a lot is like there are some matches where you can just keep using like cheap strategies over and over again, because the enemy doesn't like learn, or like he doesn't care, or he doesn't adapt to what you're doing, and I think that's missing, because when you have a game, which is very very rare in CS, might I add, but if you have a game where you're like constantly like, oh, the enemy does something and you adapt to that, and then the enemy adapts to you, and you know, it doesn't even have to be in the match, right? It can be between matches. I think you touched on it earlier, like, oh, this team likes to rush a lot, so we'll use strategies that block rushing, right? And stuff like that. Like that gets completely eliminated, and I think that just makes the games, like the quality of the game is lower, because you know, as we've been saying for like the past 50 minutes, like you're not meeting the same people all the time. You're constantly just like put into a cage with random strangers, and like stuff happens. I don't know, like there's no real logic to it. It's like, okay, like before a match, I can't do anything that will help me win this match. Like, obviously, like technically I can, right? But like if it's like a tournament where I know the enemy player, I can talk with my team like, what should we do about this and this and this. And like with competitive matchmaking, you can't really do that because you're just thrown into a random match with random people and you don't know what they're gonna do, and you know, like it just feels like nothing matters, I think, is the main problem.
Yeah.
Everything feels kind of meaningless, and the only thing that people care about is the number next to your name in the lobby, because that means you're good, and that's cool.
You actually touched on a really good point there, which is we talked about the averaging effect of the skill before, right?
Yeah.
But it also has an averaging effect on the gameplay itself. So if you take Nosgoth as example, it's a class-based game. So you play certain classes and you have loadouts, right?
Yeah.
So, like you said, maybe you play against a team that has really good, you know the game, so like a scout, right? They have a really good scout, which is like a sniper class. So then you need to basically change your play style, but because maybe their scout is really good, but the other players are meh, right? And he carries them. So they have a certain style where they play. Like they basically babysit that player, right?
Yeah.
So it feels a certain way when you play against them, and you need to adapt and play certain classes against that to deal with that. Whereas another team, maybe they're super evenly skilled, right, but not as highly skilled, and they like rush a lot or what. So you have a wide variety of different play styles among the teams, but when you have matchmaking, you don't have that. I mean, this is specifically for tournament games, so it's not completely fair. But when comparing that to when you have matchmaking, it averages, right? So you won't have those teams. You will basically get the same game every time.
I think.
So the meta of the game. This is why we will probably touch on this later, right? But the constant patching. Maybe we won't touch on this actually, but the constant patching that modern games do is because the games get stale really quickly because people are like it just averages out, so everything just goes to the same like classes or weapons or heroes or whatever it is in that game, and then everyone just plays that and they can't change because it like averages out because you don't know what you're up against, and
you have to like use safe strategies, I guess. You can't counterplay the enemy. You can like, unless they're bad.
Yes.
But like most of the time you need to it's something I notice in CS2 a lot. Like I don't play around my enemies. I just use, I think that's sort of what I was trying to say previously but kind of failed at. It's like I need to use strategies that are like safe.
Yes.
Because I don't know what to expect. And I mean, technically, I guess you could say that that's a skill issue, but I don't really agree because.
I mean, it's just less interesting.
I'd like,
even if it is a skill issue.
Because you could say, oh well, it's just part of a game that you need to learn the like safe strategies because you're just bad at the game if you don't know them.
Yeah.
But like, the game actively becomes less interesting because the thing is like. I have to use the safe strategies against my enemies, right?
Yeah.
But the enemy also has to use the safe strategies against me.
Yes.
So there's like nothing interesting happening in the game. Everyone's just doing the same thing all the time. That's kind of like what you said.
Yeah. It's also funny in the other way, actually. Sometimes when you know someone does a certain mistake, like you play against the same person every time, and you're like, I can just do this thing because I know this player won't adapt. I mean, I guess it's a bit mean, but it's funny. Yeah.
I want to touch a bit. I think you kind of went into the area of it a little bit earlier, and that's like the community aspect of matchmaking.
Yep.
I think like we've ranted a bit or quite a lot actually about like competitive stuff.
Yeah.
But I think the absolute worst effect that matchmaking has had on multiplayer games is that it's basically killed the concept of a community.
Yes.
Because like looking back, when I used to play multiplayer games, I used to frequently make new friends.
I agree.
Like, because what would happen is that I would find a server that I would scroll in the server browser, right? And I would be like, this server looks fine, I'll play on that. And then I join the server and I enjoy myself. And then the next day, when I like come home from school or whatever, because I'm a little kid, I go on the game and I scroll the server browser and I say, yeah, that server was kind of fun, so I'll play on that server again today.
Yes.
And you know what happens? I meet the same people. Because the other people on the server, they did the same thing as me. They found a server they liked, and they joined it, and they keep rejoining it.
Yes, even if it's
and so,
knife-only CS or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So what happens is that, you know, I keep meeting the same people over and over again, and we talk, and we become friends because we play. Yeah. Like, not even talking, like, competitively at all. Like, it could be a casual game. It doesn't matter. Yes. Like, any game. It can be competitive or casual.
Yeah.
It just... Because the problem with something like CS is like I actually genuinely have a policy that I don't accept friend requests from people who like add me when I play CS.
Okay.
Because what happens 99% of the time is like, okay, so I play a game and there's like, I don't know, we only managed to get 3 friends this time. So there's like 2 random guys in the team. Yeah. But like we're actually kind of like having fun and like communicating and things are going well.
Yeah.
And so we're like, oh, okay, yeah, let's add each other and play another game, right? Mm-hmm. And then we play another game and we lose.
Yeah.
Like, not because we did a bad job. It's just like, you know, you lose some games and you win some, right? It's a competitive game. And like, they don't want to play with us anymore because they lost. Yeah. It's so like, because...
Yeah, they want rank, like, not friends, I guess.
Yeah, but no, that's not even like the main point. I think the main point is like you need to play with people several times before they become your friend, right? Because the first time you play with them, like they can be nice, right? But they're not your friend. But like if you play with them for like 3 days a week for like 2 or 3 weeks, like you're friends now, right?
Yep.
And so you can add each other and play other games or whatever. But like if I play CS and I add someone and like we lose the next game, it's like, okay, that guy's never gonna talk to me again.
Yes.
It's such a... Because like every game is... holy shit, this is gonna sound so pretentious. But it's like every game is a fleeting moment, right? Mm-hmm. It's like there's no... Yeah, like the people I play with, they're gonna be gone. Like I'm not gonna think about them like after this game.
Yeah. Another point there is actually the opponents. In a matchmaking game, the opponents are always anonymous, or whatever. I mean, you know what I mean. Like you don't know the opponents, which actually makes the game way more toxic.
Yeah.
Because you don't respect your opponents. The same way you do definitely. As if you play against, because if you play on a server, you don't play against or with the same people every time, but you play with or against, like combined you play with or against the same players, right? So you might have someone on your team one time, but then you're playing against them another time, and then so you don't call them like mean things. I mean, generally I don't do that either, to be honest, but a lot of people do. For some reason, So,
I definitely think that's a very good point. Like, because I think it's sort of like, because I'm never gonna meet these people. But obviously, exactly. I'm not toxic in games either. But like from the perspective of a toxic person, the toxic person thinks, "Oh, I'm never gonna meet these people again, so I can call my teammate trash because it doesn't matter." Yeah. But like, if I'm playing in a server I enjoy playing in. Because I'm friends with like say 60% of the people in the server, and there's one person who's really trash. If I call them trash, maybe the other people think I'm an asshole, and all of a sudden, like I'm gonna get bullied out of this server, right? Kind of. So there's like no social consequence, I guess, to being toxic.
Yes.
And so definitely like toxicity, like the. I wouldn't say I'm not very sensitive to toxicity at all. But toxicity has definitely increased with time. Like
a lot.
Like insanely. Like maybe it's nostalgia, but I don't think it is.
I mean, there was there was probably actually more trash talking back in the day, to be honest.
Trash talking,
that's
but
fun.
not like actual toxicity.
But now it's real toxicity, right?
Yeah, trash talk, because trash talking, that can be fun.
Yeah,
right?
it is fun.
You know, some people don't think that, but
they're lame. Fun. It's fun.
Yeah. So, but like, because, what was I thinking about?
I don't know.
Yeah, there's like no social consequences, I guess. Like, yeah.
And also, it's a server browser. It's a server, it's not. It's a server, right? Someone owns this server. Some actually toxic person joins. Guess what? You can ban them.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
You can't join anymore. Problem solved.
Yeah.
You play matchmaking. Yeah. You don't know. Maybe you'll never meet him again. Probably if it's a big game. But he's gonna keep being toxic to people. Yeah. And I mean. Yeah.
That's actually a very, very good point. It's that a lot of... luckily CS isn't doing this, because I find it very cringe, in my opinion. But a lot of competitive games, they put a lot of effort and time into like, word filters and stuff like that, and like automatic ban systems that ban people who are griefing or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
And like, having like a human moderator...
It helps.
Yes, there can be very, very bad moderators. Like I've had plenty of experiences with terrible moderators.
Server in that case.
But yeah, exactly. Like if you, but like yeah, like having human moderators is. There is more room for like having a terrible moderator, but as you say, you can just switch the server if you're not enjoying the moderator.
Yeah. Or
like enjoying the moderation, I guess. But having a human moderator is a lot better. And I think, interestingly, a lot of... I play CS, and a lot of people complain about the cheaters in CS. And like, I don't think there are that many cheaters. Like, people over-exaggerate a bit, but there are cheaters in CS, definitely. And I think having human moderators actually helps with that, because... if there's a cheater in my game, I can just call the moderator because I know him, because I've played with him on the server before, and say, hey, there's this guy cheating, can you check it out?
I mean, even if he's not cheating, maybe they just... I mean, let's say it's a server of bad players and this random asshole joins and kills everyone all the time. I mean, ban him, it's your server, who cares?
Yeah. Like, and you might think, oh, well, poor good player who got banned for cheating, but like, he can just join another server, right? That's the thing. Like, you have like there's so much like to choose from, I guess.
Yeah, because
and like
a problem with the, like you touched on the auto moderation stuff.
Yeah.
Like a big issue with that, I feel, is that there's a lot of nuance to moderation, and and that's a thing with servers, right? Where you can have that nuance because different servers can have different rules about what's okay and what's not okay.
Yeah.
Which you can't in this like matchmaking. Everything is the same system. So it becomes like very strict and very toxic, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't like it at all. It's super not, what's the word? Like not human.
Yeah.
Like inhuman.
Very,
maybe not the right
very
word.
Very 1984.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think that's a very good point, because we briefly talked about it, like, oh yeah, trash talking is fun.
Yeah.
But like, if you don't think trash talking is fun, you can join a server where trash talking isn't allowed, right? And so once again, like the amount of variety you have when choosing a server is beneficial, right?
Yes.
It's like, because you can find a game that's catered to what you want. If you don't want trash talking, join a server where trash talking isn't allowed. If you're fine with it, join a server where it is or isn't. You don't care, right? So it's like, yeah, it becomes obviously an over-exaggeration, but it becomes very 1984. Like,
yeah.
CS isn't bad with that at all. Like, you can say some pretty bad shit in
CS is
like,
1984.
What?
Quote, CS is 1984.
No, CS isn't. CS is anarcho-capitalist. No. But like, I know people who play League of Legends.
Yep.
And like, I don't know if this is true, but they have told me that like, if someone dies and you say good job sarcastically in the chat, Like you can get like a 30-minute ban for that, and that's insane to me. Like what the fuck? Like that's actually like
that's
mentally insane.
That's a bit too much actually.
Yeah, like that can't be fun to play. It's Yeah.
Yes, is there...
There was one more point I had. I need to remember it because I forgot it. Oh yeah! This is a very, very big point. I think perhaps the most important point of today. It could be, but might not. And that is that nowadays there are a lot of like competitive multiplayer games that are released.
Yep.
And roughly the same amount of multiplayer competitive games that shut down a few months after they're released.
This is important.
Yes. And I think that one of the main problems that caused this is, or it isn't because of matchmaking, but it can be solved with a traditional old school server browser. Because these games have smaller communities, right?
Yes.
They don't have the amount of players that you need to sustain a matchmaking system.
Yeah.
But beyond that, smaller games also benefit more from having a tighter knit community, right?
Yep.
And so having matchmaking kind of like this encourages community building, right? We've been talking about that the entire like for the last hour, like.
Yeah, there is like a lot of cost stuff involved here, which is actually very time-wise topical or whatever. Considering shutting down and stuff. Yes. So if assuming it's a server browser system where you host your servers, right? Like the community hosts the servers. There can be official servers as well. That's fine. But the community can host servers. It mitigates a lot of the risk for the players playing the game. Yeah. Because it's actually I think a lot of companies don't think about this, which is they make these huge games that have these matchmaking systems that cost a lot to keep running, and then people don't play them, which in turn causes people to not play them. So because people don't want to invest time in games they know are gonna shut down. So if you can prove to the community that, hey, look, like even if we like shut down tomorrow, you can still play this game. That's gonna put a lot of trust on that company, like from the players, and that's gonna keep players around, and it's gonna grow the community like over time, which I think is more healthy anyways, instead of this like I don't know what, honestly
maximize players.
I don't know what they're doing. Honestly, they have honestly they are delusional. A lot of the companies, they think like they're gonna make all the money in the world, and then they don't the second day and they shut down. So I don't know what the plans are there, but so like, cause like if I play a game, and I can, let's say there's 100 players playing. Most players, most players will say, "Oh, that's a dead game." But what is that? No, that's like, if it's a 5v5 game or a 4v4 game, that's like 20 or 10, like, it's 20 games simultaneously running, right? It's like, you don't need more games than that.
That's enough to play.
Yeah, that's enough to play. Maybe not all the time. Like, maybe you can't get a game at 1 a.m. in the morning or whatever. Or actually, a lot of people play late, right? But maybe not like 5 in the morning or something, right? But you can get games on like weekends and stuff, right? And
or a game on a North American server.
With
100 ping.
So but with the matchmaking you can't do, because you can't even see, right? If there's players online, you need to like check Steam charts or something and be like, is people playing right now? And like check what hours people are on. And try to matchmake then, and then maybe you don't have the correct rank, because again with server browsers you can just have a lot of variety within the skill if all the players are okay with it. So like some people are really bad and some are really good, but they'll be like, oh, this good player, he's gonna get the worst players on his team, so it's more balanced, right? And then you play and it's fun. But with matchmaking, it's like, no, you don't even get a game. Fuck you, right?
Yeah.
Because you're too high rank, and then they smurf, and whatever, just to play.
I think that's very funny, actually, because I think you mentioned it when you talked about Nosgoth. What ends up happening is that a lot of like low, in quotation mark, player count games with matchmaking, what ends up happening is that they have like an official Discord server where you can check like, oh yeah, I'm gonna play now.
Yeah.
And like when you have 10 people, these 10 people launch the game and play.
Yeah.
And like
the game
at that point, why don't you just have a server browser?
The game could solve that.
Now I need to open a third-party software and I need to be in the server. Like, because you as the game company need to get me into the Discord server, right? So that I can find a game.
Yeah.
Like, why not just put the server browser in the game so that I can scroll and see, oh shit, there's a server with 3 people on it. I'll join and hope that in like 20 minutes a few more people will join and we'll have fun. It's like, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Definitely like AA or like indie multiplayer games, I guess, they would probably benefit from like
they need to think about this way more. Because like a big problem right now is that for multiplayer games, it's either you do these huge things or you don't do them. And like we need more like mid-sized multiplayer games, because I don't know, the big ones are kind of boring, honestly. Like they don't have the skill depth like that older games did. So you need these like smaller companies that have less risk involved, like money-wise, to make more interesting games. And that also means they're gonna risk lower player counts, which means they need to be more careful about the players they actually have and make sure they can play. Yeah, I think it's weird. It's obviously something that's like cultural with like the entire game company like landscape right now, but it's everyone's like going for like a massive smash hit success. Like nobody is making a multiplayer, like probably someone, but I haven't heard of anyone that's making like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make a multiplayer game and the players are gonna have to host their own server, and as long as like 50 people play the game at once, that's like a success. Like you could make a game that's a success with 50 players, like a player count, like a constant player count of 50, but like nobody is aiming for it. The constant 50 is actually kind of high as well. That's like probably in the thousands at least, like total. Yeah, that's totally enough.
So it's like, it doesn't make any sense, because like all of the like, we're definitely gonna make an episode on this later, but like all of the companies are putting all their eggs in one basket, and like they're releasing a game, and if it isn't a massive hit with like billions of players, they're gonna shut it down in a month. And it's like, it doesn't make any sense.
Another big thing that I actually, maybe I have thought of it before, but I just realized it now. Is that if you host your own servers, you can actually place them wherever you want, which is also super important with small communities, because what happens a lot of the time is you have this one person in like Australia or something, and he's playing constantly on 400 ping or something, and he can't do anything about it. Whereas, or maybe we have like a tournament with like an NA team, right? You can, but the servers are on the West Coast, so it's super bad for EU players, and it's So, but with that, you can have like servers positioned better, and you can buy better servers, right? So you can mitigate a lot of the fact that people are all over the world.
I think also one thing that I've seen with less popular games is that like for some random reason a game will have a really big Brazilian community or something. And then the players in Brazil will be like, oh yeah, we need Brazilian servers, because they don't want to play with 150p. And it's like,
they could host
but the like company that made the game, they've made the game for like a North American and European audience, so they don't care. They only have North American and European servers. And so like now they need to invest a bunch of money to make their Brazilian players happy. Like, why not just let them host their own server so they can play with 5 ping?
Yeah, because like if they have like a main server or whatever for like finding the servers, that can be wherever, because like you don't need to ping to that. But the game server needs to be close, right? Yeah, that's actually a really good point, because then it's like, okay, you'll have a community in a specific spot, and they always get bad ping because all the servers are in that place. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. I think I've said everything I wanted to say.
Yeah. Do we have any final thoughts about this?
A final call to action. Yeah, game developers, try server browsers. They're pretty good.
I like them. And even if you if you don't do that, like again, especially smaller games, but bigger as well. Although bigger don't care, it's like make sure that there is ways to play the game without you. No offense, but I don't trust you. Like I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna play this game because, like, even if it's fun, there is not like there's enough players, but you just care about money, so you're not gonna keep it running for long, and then I'm gonna have to rely on. Thankfully, there's a lot of nice like hackers or whatever you want to call them doing like server. What do you call it? Like community-made servers and stuff. So that's nice. There's a lot of the old games you can still play, but I mean it's kind of lame because you can't play a lot of the old games because they don't exist because they didn't make them in that way. And the funny thing with that is like if you go even older, because back in the day internet was bad, so all games implemented LAN stuff. And the funny thing is that those games usually are easier to run, right? Because you can run them on the LAN thing or like make virtual networks or whatever and run them. Find some way to run them online. Whereas the newer games with this like close, I don't know what to call them, like ecosystems of, what do you call them? Like they have like this central server with and it's like very hard for people to recreate that, I think.
I think that's
hackers. I mean,
like if I wanted to play some really obscure multiplayer game from like 1999, I could do that.
That's not hard at all. Funny,
Like I could call you and I could say, hey, buy this game, let's play. Okay, but if I
mean, if we can find it,
obscure...
because preservation is not. We're gonna have to talk about that at some point. But preservation is bad. So you're gonna have to like go on eBay and find an expensive disc or cheap, depending on what game it is.
If you can get a hold of the game, then I can just call you and say let's play. But like a game that was released in like 2016 and like shut down in a year, I don't know if I can play that. Like it depends. Obviously, like you said, if some hacker did something nice, maybe we can play a game. But like, it would be much better if I could just like host my own server, or if you could bring your computer over to my house and we could just play.
Like even sorry for interrupting you, but Minecraft, right? Minecraft doesn't have a server browser. You literally
write the IP address in.
If you don't want to invest anything, please do that at least. So I can join us random, like provide a server, what do you call it? Like a server executable, right? And provide a way to input an IP address if you don't want to do the infrastructure and make that able to run outside. Because
and like, not to extend this episode for like 100 billion hours, but like Minecraft is super popular, so obviously you can get away with it.
People don't care.
Like if people enjoy your game, they're gonna like go through the hoops and like find a server to play on.
The servers even do
they're gonna
these fancy
go on like
IP
minecraftservers.org and like look up like you don't even need a server browser in game.
I mean, it helps, but
it helps. It's nice. Please do server browsers, but you don't need to.
Or like have at least a backup for people that so they know they can keep playing the game.
I think that's a pretty good spot to end the episode, don't you think?
Sure.
Or did you want to say something?
No, I think that's good.
Okay. Thanks everyone who's listening, which isn't anyone at the moment, but maybe in 50 years.
Well, there was some view botting or something, right?
Yeah. We'll pay for views, don't worry.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Thank you for watching and bye bye.